List of regular management tasks. So we are nearing the end of this course. It's been fairly epic actually. I think I've covered a lot of stuff. I hope you have got some useful nuggets out of it, and I want to bring it together by saying what would I have as the top things that a boss should do every day, every week, every month and every year. So let's have a look at the list. So you can see that for the daily options, there are really only three things that I can think a leader should do. The first thing is he or she should definitely do management by walking about for probably an hour a day, just checking around that how's everybody's happy or not. I think that's really important. They should also spend half an hour, I think, thinking every day. Of course, it's getting ahead of the game time and it could be investigating a problem, but I think half an hour of thinking time is really important. Thinking about the vision, or can I improve the systems, or how are my people doing? And the third thing every boss has got to be is organized. You can't organize other people unless you organize yourself. So a job is to do this every day. That's the only things you got to do every day. Now, we have already done everyday task. Now coming to the weekly, I have got 4 things you need to do. And the first one is to thank everybody who works for you. I think approximately weekly, everybody one-to-one for something definite that they have done. That's something great they have done. It's got to be real thing, not just thanks for being great. So that means you need to know what they are doing. Well, that's a bit of drag. But on the other hand, you should know what they are doing. Secondly, a team meeting half an hour every week. You have got to have a team meeting with your team. Thirdly, some coaching. We talked about that earlier as well. It's very important to coach somebody every week. Teach something to someone every week. And fourth, planning your time. So you have got a master list of the big things you do or you need to do. Once a week, probably Friday afternoon, you should look at your master list and also focus on your most important task and move some of those things across into your diary for the coming week. So you start to nibble into those projects. Those are the 4 things you have got to do every week. So that weekly is done, daily is come, now coming to the monthly. I have only got 3 for that. One of them is, the first one is to review how people are doing compared to the appraisal goals. This means you will need to have a little folder with each person's appraisal so that you can immediately flick to what are the things that they are supposed to be getting better at this year. You don't want to have a surprise at the end of the year when you do an appraisal, or you say, oh, by the way, have you improved on that? Oh, you haven't. That's not very good. So ideally, you would kind of nag them every month and say, so are you getting on with your being more customer friendly this year? Dave, have you been good to customers this month? So you need to have that list and go through it with each person every month. Secondly, project management. I think you will probably have a month meeting to look at most of your projects. So I think checking on your projects should be a monthly thing. And finally, something I mentioned earlier in this course, a motivation review. Just have a little think about the people whom you have got working for you. And just ask the question for each person. Are they motivated? Have they got challenges? Have they got ownership? Are they learning? Do they need coaching? And just go through that with each person in your mind. But you absolutely should do that review once a month. And then finally, yearly, I've got a whole load of things you have got to do. But the good news is you have only got to do them once a year. So that's good. The first one is an appraisal. We have already spoken about it, but I'll just touch on it again. That appraisal with everybody every year is important. Secondly, by the way, you can delegate appraisals. So you just do them with your direct reports and your direct reports do their appraisals, but make sure everybody is doing all the appraisals. Coming to the second one, ask the people who work for you, how can I get better as a boss? Now, you could do this at the appraisal. Of course, they won't tell you. But what you can do is, you can say, I think I'm a reasonable boss, but is there anything I could improve on a little bit? And if they say, well, you could maybe involve me a bit more in some of your decisions, then that's a sure sign that you are not involving them in your decisions. So I think that's a really good way to try to pull out of them. How could I improve at all as a boss? Next is to address the troops as one large group. I mentioned this once a year. You should talk to everybody about the past. You know how is the year got, but also the future. What are the plans for the coming year? Now, coming to the last one, the fourth one, a little bit of back to the floor. We had talked about that earlier. Between a day and a week of back to the floor is something you should do once a year. You also review your personal goals in your life quality. So, are you happy? Do you want to do this job? I think once a year it's a good idea just to take a stock and think, is this job still making me happy? And my bored? Should I apply for something else? Whatever. Then go on a course. I think once a year you should go on a training course and just learn something new. I'm sure you're going to agree with that because you are not the sort of person who's actually paid for their own learning to do this course. So that's brilliant. But a lot of people never do any training, and that's just such a waste. I mean, you have got to work for yourself, haven't you? Sharpen your sword, as it were, and finally read a book on subject of your choice. You know, if you are a salesperson, why would you not read a book on selling? You know, just one book a year is all I ask you. Absolutely should study whatever it is that you earn your living doing. So read a book, there we are. That's my list of daily, weekly, monthly, yearly things that you should do as a boss. And if there's anything on you are not doing, maybe you could start doing that today.